Over 1 billion people, land will always be a prized asset. And agricultural land around cities has become a hot investment tool for many these days. But how lucrative is it to invest in farmland as against investing in an apartment? And what should you keep in mind while buying land? Vasudha Sharma gets you a checklist.
Agricultural land around our cities has today emerged as a new land of opportunity for investors. Land is finite, it's real, and unlike an apartment, the quantum of appreciation in the value of land will always be higher. But buying land can be a complex and taxing process. You cannot get a loan to buy agricultural land, so you should be ready to empty out a huge chunk of your savings. Also, land is a local play. So even if you hire a broker, it's advisable that you take a site visit to engage with the locals and inquire about the owner's family history. Also, land does not promise short-term gains. Land experts advise that your investment window for returns should not be less than 3 years when buying land.
I look at land as an investment category where you can remain invested for a longer period for returns. To never over leverage yourself or your financials to get into land as a category. Always look to buy land only with capital that you have to spare. Don't pull out from your existing businesses, etc. Please make sure that you fully understand the local laws and bylaws. If not, please seek expert help on understanding the laws first. Land requires a much higher level of due diligence.
Buying agricultural land is a high-risk, high-return game, and there are several legal issues to keep in mind before you finalize on that land deal. Most crucially, you need to study the legal status of that piece of land in the area's revenue records. Another important document in your checklist is the Fard, which is a record of the ownership of that land over the past 30 years. Then procure a document called the Girdavari, which will have a record of what use the land has been put to over the last 3 years. This document is maintained by the Patwari of the area. An encumbrance certificate will tell you if the land is under any litigation or dispute. You must study the area's zonal plans and master plans. The land that you have your eye on could be earmarked for a road or notified by the government for acquisition. Once your documents are in order, you still need to think about protecting your property from encroachment. Ensure that you only buy a demarcated property that's properly fenced. Do not leave your land idle. You can rent out by building a small unit on the land. You can also earn from the sale of crops. Agricultural land is free from wealth tax, which is usually levied on any benefits accrued from property. However, land is a state subject, so laws vary from state to state, with many allowing only farmers to buy land. States like Gujarat, Maharashtra and Karnataka restrict agricultural land ownership to only agriculturists, while some like Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Delhi have no such restrictions. But you can claim your agriculturist status if you already own farmland in other states or if your father or grandfather were farmers. However, the cleanest way to buy agricultural land is to obtain a CLU, which is a change of land use. But despite the legal complexities, investing in land can give solid returns, given the demand-supply mismatch and the low competition in this segment.
There are times when the yield can be as high as 5 to 7x of the initial investment. So it all depends on when the investor wants to enter and which stage to exit. Having said that, land by far always ensures that your money always performs much better than any other. So if you want a thumb number, the investor should look at least doubling his money in 3 years' time. That should be the safety net at which the investment should be considered.
While scouting for a plot of agricultural land, choose one that's close to road infrastructure for better returns. And it's always advisable to seek legal or expert opinion before you sign on the dotted line. Vasudha Sharma, NDTV.
I believe American author Mark Twain once said, buy land, they're not making it anymore. So that itself should enthuse everybody out there to look at real estate, not in the apartment form, but in land form. Is it that easy? You hear of anecdotal stories of how much money there is to be made in land, especially agricultural or farmland, but how easy or difficult is it to actually go ahead and make a transaction in such land? Just Simran Singh, Head Investments, Realistic Realtors, Gurgaon, joins us in the studio for just that discussion. Just thanks very much for being here. I know everybody that I talk to, first of all, says, what should we buy? Land. And my first question is, but where is the land? Where are you going to go ahead and buy it? It seems like it's all over the place, but doesn't seem easy to buy it at all.
See, land, if we talk about, whatever is left now, as we said, is only on the outskirts, which is there. Delhi NCR, the entire area has already been picked up by a lot of potential investors, by people, by developers. So, it is only on the outskirts like Manesar, Kundli, Palwal, and all those adjoining areas where we are still left out with some of the land parcels which can be picked up as an investment.
So when you say land parcels to be picked up, what is the ticket size of these land parcels? Do they come in 1 acre, 2 acre kind of ticket sizes, or they come in very large ticket sizes?
See, especially the ticket size of these land parcels which we're talking about on the KMP expressway or on the outskirts, they are basically bigger ticket sizes of 25 acres and above. Because whatever smaller ticket size of 2, 4, 5 acres which are there, they are not available as of now on the main outskirts which is there. So it is, all these land parcels are barely used for the warehousings and other stuff. So a lot of investors, a lot of these companies are coming on and they're buying these land parcels, or there are a lot of investors who are picking up these land parcels now and are making warehouses and giving it on leasing to these companies.
So we're talking about having a capital of at least 25 crores plus to even look at something, land parcel there, nothing less than that?
Nothing less than that. There are land parcels available of smaller units also, wherein, all these small farmers or the traders which are there in between are there. But ideally, if somebody has to look at acquiring a land parcel today, it should be at least 20-25 acres plus.
Okay, so Sameer, why is it that I still hear of people who say, we bought near our native land, or we went and bought in a place like Madurai, or even let's say close to Jaipur, and we made lots and lots of money on that piece of agricultural land. I would just find this whole process of going out there, finding that parcel of land, protecting it, demarcating it as my property, a whole amount of hassle.
Well, first of all, people end up making a lot of money in agricultural land only typically when the boundaries of a particular city increase and that agricultural land comes under zoning, gets licensed, and then you get permissions to build group housing or sell it as plotted development. That's the only time where a farmland which is say at X becomes 5X and 10X and a lot of money is made. That's one thing. I also would slightly disagree with Simran on the 25-acre land parcel opportunities in and around NCR, because Delhi's master plan is now getting notified, and the biggest opportunity is in actually Delhi, where you could still buy 1 acre, 2 acres, 3 acres, although the price points of those 1 acre, 2 acres, 3 acres are running into crores.
Right.
But outskirts of Delhi, where now the new farmhouse policy that's also come out, where you can actually build a farm of 1 acre and build up to 5,000 square feet is hugely in demand.
A lot of people are getting into the business now, scoping out
I
these
think this is probably the biggest opportunity in India, if you're looking at appreciation, to go out there and buy farmland in Delhi, and you can see multiples in terms of appreciation happening over the next 3 to 5 years.
So would I be correct in understanding just then that it's not agricultural land that we should be focusing on for a retail investor with a substantial amount of capital, because this is clearly not a game of 50 lakh rupees or even a crore of rupees. It's a much bigger game. Then you actually look at, constantly seek out opportunities, as Sameer pointed out, at the outskirts of cities, which probably as the city expands might get included, and those are the lucrative sweet spots.
See, I totally agree with what Sameer said, of coming off this farmland, farmlands and everything coming on the outskirts, plus the 2031 master plan getting notified by the government. There are good opportunities, but if we talk about converting your money multiple times, that means you have to go a little outskirt and get cheap land, which, today people talk about that I bought this property 20 years back, and today you can't even, plan about the multiple which has happened.
Yeah. You don't count the multiples. The X's are so many ahead of that.
The X's are so many that, today people say that we bought the farmlands in maybe Chhatarpur area or any other such areas, and we bought an X rate, and today after 20 years there is no value for that, it has gone so high.
Those are of course very long-term investment plans, and they become hugely lucrative for you. But I mean, today if I was to, let's say, have a capital of about 5 crores, Samir, I mean, I don't know how many people out there watching this show have a 5 crore, but let's assume 5 crores is a reasonable ticket size. If you want to go out and buy it, would you say that go ahead and look for great opportunities in agricultural and farmland?
Absolutely. But you just have to keep a couple of things in mind.
Yes, it's not easy. It's a tricky
very
investment
difficult to buy agricultural land. The titles are not clear. The titles are not even resting with the government. They're resting with the tehsildars and the sarpanches over there. And there are technical words like girdavaris and khatordis that need to be validated and checked. And a farm owner can just give his land away, and it won't be even there in the land records. Part of his land can be given away. So it's very risky. A. B. There's a huge amount of cash. And C, you really need to have to protect your property. So you have to then quickly build boundary walls. There is that fear of somebody else occupying your property illegally. So if you're willing to live with those risks, this is probably one of the best investments.
High risk but high reward.
Yes.
Would you say that, I mean, it's also literally for somebody on a white-collared income, this is an investment they shouldn't even bother considering just because there's such a large cash component in this business?
See, the dynamics is changing now. Otherwise, if you see a lot of absolutely, because a lot of these farmers now, because as the agriculture income is a tax-free income today, so a lot of these guys are accepting the all check deals because they don't have to pay any kind of taxes on that. Right. So farmers, as Samir rightly said, that the one who is entering it, there needs to be a lot of due diligence which needs to be done.
So that is critical.
That is very critical.
You can get an all-white deal in agricultural land now.
Absolutely, because you have to check the title for the last 30 years of that property. You need to ascertain that, because the farmer whosoever will be selling the farmland will be a big family today.
Right.
So you need to ascertain that there are no minors who are in the ownership of the property. You need to ascertain that there is no family dispute within the property, because if you pay to a ex guy and the second brother comes up and says,
it has happened.
Absolutely, this is happening quite often, because the multiplication of these farmlands, they have grown so much that one guy says, okay, I'm satisfied with an X amount. The other guy comes and says, no, I have been offered a better amount.
Right.
So I'll go with that. So then one needs to ascertain that the closure of these transactions needs to be done at a very faster pace, the registrations and everything, and simultaneously, the due diligence through patwaris, through jamabandis and through other sources needs to be done, before entering into the transaction.
So are a lot of such deals happening, I mean, you're in that consulting business. Are you closing such deals for your clients?
We are closing such deals, the hotspot of these smaller ticket size of 2 acres, 2.5 acres, 5 acres are happening, basically on the outskirts, like I mentioned, on the NH8, which is happening. There are certain farmhouses coming up there. Najafgarh is a good area where people are coming in. Faridabad, Palwal is another such area where, a lot of these farmlands are getting traded, because people have seen it growing from bits and pieces. And in the last 15-20 years, you talk about areas which are on both the sides of NH8 near the Shiv Murti. You talk about West End, Rajokuri, Pushpanjali. Today they have no value practically,
Absolutely.
So people have seen that growing. So today that taste of getting into the farmlands is as you asked, is getting into the mindset of a white-collared guy also.
They've tasted blood on farmland.
To this is that you're going to see opportunities where the professionals will be able to buy legalized farmhouses now because of this 1 acre policy, and B, that there are many new developers who are actually now agglomerating land parcels, 10 acres, 12 acres, and they want to cut it out as 1-acre land parcels, build beautiful homes and sell them as farmhouses.
Except that there's not that much left then. I mean, if you buy... There's still a lot left.
480 kilometers of urbanization that's happening in Delhi, which is twice the size of Delhi. So there is unimaginable amount of land that you will see getting released through this new master plan. And you will see a new opportunity and a new asset class emerging in the NCR residential market.
Okay, so I think everybody who's watching this show and living in NCR or even living outside, I think at least should start saving up for those parcels of land which are going to
available under 5 to 10 crores.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. Of course, Samir will continue to be with us, and as we'll go across and evaluate projects in Pune worth your money and also smart home options in Chennai.